Hi, Judge Andrew Napolitano here, and you're on Freedom Watch with my guest and dear friend Jessica Tarlov, a Fox News contributor and the Senior Director of Research at Bustle.com. So, Jessica, the president this week has many investigations surrounding him. He's kind of upset with it. He read an article in the New York Times, and he seems to feel that there was a mole or a spy in his campaign. Do the Democrats want the president to investigate the investigators?
I think they would like him to stop taking things that he reads or things that he hears and changing the context of it. What he read is that there was an informant, a human informant, which apparently didn't violate FBI procedure, how any of this happened, that was within the Trump campaign after they had already started an investigation into them because of George Papadopoulos. At least that was my understanding of...
The argument made on The View yesterday by Jim Clapper, who was the director of national intelligence at the time, was that we were in the campaign to protect them from the Russians. But you remember what Ronald Reagan once said, the 9 most dangerous words in the English language: I'm from the government, I'm here to protect you. Did they protect the Trump campaign, or did they report on what they saw?
Well, we don't know at this point, and I think that's what the president is after with this push to get everything declassified and to see as much as he possibly can. But we do know that months before this happened, there were reports that Russians were trying to infiltrate the campaign. This was reported first by NBC, I believe. And we have heard from the intelligence community unanimously, I believe, that Russia did interfere in the election and did favor Trump there, despite what Secretary Nielsen says. So it seems like there was cause to be concerned about this.
I'll make your argument even stronger. Even though the president has called Mueller's investigation a witch hunt 1,000 times.
Today, even.
very promptly sanctioned 9 of the 13 Russians that were indicted by Mueller, all of whom, in one way or another, were members of or working at the behest of Russian intelligence.
And then we have the pleas from the Americans involved as well.
Correct. Suppose the president's greatest fears are true. Suppose the Obama administration used law enforcement and intelligence assets to learn of Trump's plans and pass them on to Mrs. Clinton. That would be an outrage that nobody would tolerate. Or justify under any circumstances.
Absolutely. And I think actually to that point, it's a little disheartening to see how few Republicans are, A, concerned about Russian interference in the 2018 election. And we saw Secretary Pompeo come out and say that they are aware of it and they will do everything that they can to stop it. But also the fact that Jim Comey got involved in the election 11 days out before that, coming out and saying that Hillary Clinton's emails were on Anthony Weiner's laptop because of Huma Abedin, and this was a problem. And then he said, oh, wait, forget it. Actually, it wasn't a problem. And then she went on to lose by 77,000 votes. And
77,000. You're talking about the margin in states.
In the 3 states that swung it for President Trump.
Okay, because she really...
Because she won by 2.5 million.
Okay. But my concern is, how would Democrats feel if the allegation was that Bush did this, George W., to Senator Obama in 2008? They would be as outraged as Donald Trump is now, right?
I think that there would be outrage. I hope that they would be a little bit calmer and more collected about it, and I hope that they wouldn't disparage the entire intelligence community and our senior law enforcement officials in the wake of doing this, and also compelling an independent judiciary and law enforcement officials to seemingly do the president's bidding. That seems to be the real problem here.
I don't want to get too in the weeds on criminal procedure, but should the Congress have the right, no matter which party is running it, from a political perspective, which is your field, to examine the documents from the files of ongoing criminal investigations, like Devin Nunes wants to see Bob Mueller's file, or at least the copies of it that Rod Rosenstein has?
That doesn't seem appropriate to me. It seems like it would compromise the independence of the special counsel, which you and I both agree that Bob Mueller has, performed to the highest degree of professionalism here, and we have no leaks out of there. So what Devin Nunes is trying to do is to politicize a process that we both agree should not be political. Democrats or Republicans
And
doesn't matter.
You know what the DOJ's fear is, because Congressman Nunes has done this before.
Yeah, he jumped the fence and was
Correct.
wagging
He
around
will take those documents
fake
and
intel.
show them to the potential defendant in the White House.
But isn't that what President Trump is asking for? And isn't that what's really concerning here? That
Yes.
he's saying, show me everything. And if you don't show me, show my chief of staff, who I will absolutely compel to tell me what happened.
Now, the meeting in the White House later this week to address this has no Democrats.
No,
No,
not
it
invited.
Just has people from the DOJ, people from the FBI. I don't think John Kelly's going to be there from the White House, and leaders of the House government operations and intelligence committees. How unfair is that?
Well, it's completely unfair, and I think that there are a lot of Republicans who will get increasingly louder about this, of how absurd it is. Jeff Flake is already out there, but we know Jeff Flake is not a particular fan of the president. I'm sure
Right.
Bob Corker will follow suit. Maybe we'll hear from Senator McCain, et cetera. But when you see what's going on here with the calls for a second special counsel from the Freedom Caucus members, and Paul Ryan...
We both agree that that would be highly inappropriate at this point.
Well, also, the things that they want to focus on, the FISA abuses, which is certainly something that's incredibly important to you, and making sure that, Americans are not spied on by the government. So you have that, whether Bob Mueller is actually doing his job, which majority of honest brokers agree that he is,
On both
and then
parties.
Hillary Clinton's emails, which we have been through over and over, and to hear that this happening when during the time when we now know that President Trump's cell phone is not properly secure. I mean, can you imagine the audacity of saying, look at her email server scandal again, and I'm running around on a phone that can be hacked?
When I learned that, I commented that this is the same crime that Hillary Clinton was accused of.
That you think she should be in jail for.
Failure to safeguard state secrets, assuming he discusses them on his phone.
Which he
I'm sure
definitely
he
does.
Because he doesn't always use an economy of words when he's speaking.
Yeah, and we have no idea who he's speaking to, if he's talking to people who are being tapped, who are under investigation.
Last question. Do you agree with me that if the president forces the DOJ to turn over Mueller documents, this might provoke another charge of obstruction of justice against the president, interfering with the prosecution of the case against him?
Yeah, well, that's what it looks like to me, and I am no legal scholar, and you are, but I did read your op-ed, which everyone should read, and have seen this in other publications as well, that he's continuing to help build the case against him, from sitting down with Lester Holt to saying, I got rid of Comey because he was really annoying me about the Russia stuff, to having Rudy Giuliani all over television admitting things that he shouldn't, like he knew about the Stormy Daniels payment, and there might be a couple other women that are coming down the pipeline, but I'm not completely sure here. Be quiet. Bob Mueller is quiet. You be quiet, too.
Jesse, always a pleasure. Thank you
Thanks
very
for having
much.
me.
From New York, defending freedom whenever they let me, Judge Andrew Napolitano. See you next time, America.